Once we see our true nature as spirit rather than just as body, we discover that the basic stuff of the world is also spirit and not matter. We also realize that the true identity of ourselves and the world is one. On becoming a sannyasin, a man gives up his caste and lives outside the mainstream of Hindu society. Some of the laity see sannyasins as parasites. A sannyasin has to learn to pocket insults quietly.
जो जीव आज सुख दुख भोगने वाला है वह तो ब्रह्म ही है। ब्रह्म के सिवा उसका अस्तित्व नहीं। जैसे घड़े का अस्तित्व मिट्टी के सिवा नहीं, वैसे ही ब्रह्म के सिवा इसका अस्तित्व नहीं। आखिर में तो घड़ा भी तो मिट्टी ही बन जाता है। वैसे ही एक न एक दिन जीव जो है ब्रह्म बन ही जाता है। अंधकार में रहते वक्त हमने बहुत कुछ देखा। बोध रूपी सूर्य के उदय होने के बाद कुछ भी देखते ही नहीं है। ये क्या विचित्र की बात है। मैंने बोध रूपी सूर्य के उदय होने के बाद अपना स्वरूप का ज्ञान हो गया। सारे संसार को भी तो अपने से अस्तित्व देखता ही नहीं। वासुदेव सर्वमिति।
Sannyasins try to be in the world, but not of it. But the Sringeri pontiffs can't just cut themselves off. As representatives of a 1,000-year-old tradition, they fill a ceremonial role for the Hindu laity. For the majority, the experience of their religion is not one of ascetic practice, but often of rich ceremonies. Setaram's stay at Sringeri coincides with the year's most important festival, Navaratri. Presiding over the ceremonies is the Shankaracharya's chosen successor. He follows the ceremonial image of the deity, which is carried around the temple. They walk backwards so as not to show disrespect to the deity. The younger Shankaracharya leads a reenactment of an imperial court, giving prizes for Vedic recitation and music. This symbolizes the time when the 14th century Shankaracharya was offered but declined temporal power. The morning after the ceremony, Setaram goes to the younger Shankaracharya to ask for further advice.
మీకు డబ్బు సంపాదించాల్సిందే లేదా చెప్పండి. అదంతా రోంత మట్టుకు నివారణ అయిపోయింది. అంటే రోంత మట్టుకైనా పూర్తిగానా? పూర్తిగా నివారణ అయింది అని. పూర్తిగా నివారణ అయింది. ఇంకా లోకంలో ఏమన్నా చూడులా చేయలా అంటుందే లేదా? అదంతా లేదు అని అనుకొని సన్యాసం తీసుకోవాలా? అంటే భార్య బిడ్డలు వాళ్ళ మీద ఇంకా వ్యామోహం ఉందా లేదా? వ్యామోహం సన్యాసం అంటే విడువలే. విడువల సరే మీ అసలు వాళ్ళకి ఉందా లేదా అని నేను అడిగేది. లేదు లేదు ఖండితంగా మీ మనస్సుకు తోస్తే మీకు ప్రపంచంలో ఇంకేది నాకు చేయడానికి లేదు, నేను సుఖంగా ఆత్మరాముడుగా ఉండేదానికి నాకు అవకాశం ఉంది అని మీకు తోస్తే మీరు తీసుకునేదానికి లాయకు. దానికో మీ మనస్సుకు పరిపాకం వచ్చిందా లేదా అనేది మీరే చూసుకోవాలి. అది కాశీకి పోలా, అక్కడంతా చూసి చేయాలా అని ఆలోచన చేస్తూ ఉంటాను. అందుకు కాశీకి పోతే అనుకూలం అవుతుంది అంటారా? అయితే కాశీ అంటే విశ్వేశ్వరుని సాన్నిధ్యం, గంగా తీరం, మరి అన్నపూర్ణ సాన్నిధ్యం అదంతా ఉంది. ఆ ప్రదేశం నిండా విశిష్టమైన ప్రదేశం.
The whole place is full of peace and tranquility. I get some peace of mind too, but there is a little doubt persisting. After all, The ego cannot be erased by just feeling peace temporarily. The ultimate is jnana, wisdom. Whether we could erase the ego and get eternal peace in sannyas. Anyway, the doubt has arisen in my mind. I will do as Shankaracharya says, go to the holy city and seek some more clarification. I didn't want to travel from place to place endlessly in pursuit of an elusive truth. There are many parables which tell of the man who so relentlessly travels that he fails to see that the object of search was to be found in the very place he started.
But there's an important reason for going to Benares. Benares represents the world's oldest continuous culture. It has always been a major religious center. Benares is the most sacred place for Hindus. It's built on the banks of the holy river, the Ganges. The popular belief is that whoever dies there attains instant moksha, liberation from the endless cycle of rebirth.
Spiritual seekers have always been drawn to Benares. The atmosphere is extraordinarily vivid and colorful, a great melting pot of questing humanity. If you want to know what Canterbury must have been like in Chaucer's time, you should see the medieval fair which is Benares. It's strange to think that such a noisy, bustling place is a spot people choose for tranquility and enlightenment.
The place where Setaram stays is called Mumukshu Pawan, which means literally the residence for those who desire liberation. One of the sannyasins living here is known as Judge Swami, because he was a High Court judge in Delhi before leaving his family to take sannyas.
But you see, my family and a few friends of mine tell me that's a very selfish purpose. I'm thinking of these things.
Family says so, but this family cannot prevent your death. When God's hands comes, you part with company. And if you part company, then that is dismissal from service. It is compulsion. Nobody can help it. Yes, compulsion. Now, sometime the family may not like you to be there. That I'll call removal from service. Removal from service. The family doesn't hear. No, removal from service. The wife does divorce you. The children wants that you get away now, you give us charge of the whole family. That is removal. So why go in for that? Why not voluntarily resign with good grace and say, bid them goodbye in good humor, make all provisions for them. You say, I am leaving all the property to you.
How did you feel, Swamiji, when you renounced the ordinary life?
I felt I have completed all my obligations in the world. Now I can fly Godwards completely.
Oh, yes. You felt a glorious feeling came to you.
Glorious.
From hundreds of miles around, the dead are brought to be burnt in Benares because of its holy powers. In Benares, death is looked straight in the eye.
It is not fashionable for the householder to talk about death and religion or God ordinarily. But when you have become a sannyasi, then it is the subject to talk about. And the feeling of death is, I am going to my maker. I am going back to my maker where I come from. To talk of religion, that is the boat that will take me there. According to Hindu philosophy, it is just changing of the clothes. Right. It is the transmigration of soul, changing of the clothes. From one sort of clothes you change to another. Otherwise, for the spirit there is no death, absolutely. The spirit is everlasting. It never dies. Major goal of taking sannyas is to remove fear of death.
Bodies are burnt by the families on the river's bank.
Benares is a place where death is very much on your mind. Warnings of the impermanence of worldly things echo throughout Benares. The ancient riverfront is built on the ruins of still older, even greater temples. I think that the fear of death is the starting point of all religious instincts.
In Advaita philosophy, the world is an illusion in the sense that it is not ultimately real. Behind the physical backdrop of the world you travel past lies a deeper spiritual reality. Mystics have described the experience of that reality as pure consciousness, a state where there is no distinction between the inner self and pure being. In moments of calm, you may have a glimpse of that experience, an intuition which may be enough to carry you on. But not all sannyasins rigorously pursue this spiritual knowledge, and not all the rules are obeyed to the letter. In practice nowadays, only a minority go out begging for their food. The majority are fed in their communities.
I suppose, like many Westerners, I had been somewhat naive about the holy men of India. Of course, I knew that not every chap with a long white beard sitting by the Ganges was an enlightened soul, but I had been inclined to give them the benefit of the doubt. After this journey, I think I am more skeptical. Clearly, there is a danger that the more you go into the self, instead of transcending the self, you can end up with a king-size ego. About one thing, I was totally clear. I would not become a sannyasin merely out of duty as a Brahmin. If I were to do it, it would have to be for the right reasons.
A man becomes a sannyasin by an initiation which includes the ritual performance of his own death ceremony. The initiate first symbolically burns himself on his funeral pyre using an effigy made of wheat, while the priest recites the ritual prayers. Then he performs the death rites. According to Hindu tradition, the transmigrating spirit travels to 16 different worlds and is provided with food for its various stops. The proper ceremonies are performed for guiding the spirit through the realm of ghosts to the heaven of the ancestors.
पश्चिमे भागे नर्मदायाः उत्तरे भागे रेवायाः पूर्वे भागे विक्रमशके बौद्धा.
The initiate performs an atonement for all of his past misdeeds and for those of his ancestors.
Vishnave Namaha, Vishnave Namaha, Vishnave Namo Namaha, Vishnave Namo Namaha.
As I watched this death ceremony and imagined what it would be like if I myself was taking part, it hit home exactly how serious and final it would be. Could I really see myself in the place of that man? would I have the conviction to go through with it?
The sannyasin is shaved, ritually bathed, and given orange robes. He will be regarded as Svarupa Narayana, the living presence of God.
At the
end of the ceremony, the Guru whispers to him a mantra, secret words to meditate upon. Now he is a sannyasin. The man he was several hours before no longer exists.
It was becoming clear to me that the missing link was the right Guru. I had yet to find someone who could make the impossible seem possible. But how can you tell the difference between a real and a false Guru?
The first important thing is that we have to depend not on any individual, but on our own intellectual certitude. There is a Upanishadic passage which says to the disciple that Tvam tatosi gurur guruhu gurur yogyatva vidyata. Because you have to find out who is your guru. Therefore you who determine the guru-ness of the guru is really the guru of the guru.
Swami Maheshananda is head of the Dakshinamurti monastery. He studied philosophy and science in the United States. He became a sannyasin at the age of 33.
You must not pay too much attention to the personality of the Guru, but the message that he is giving. If you are convinced of that message, then that is no more message of the Guru, but it is your own message. So, after you have become doubtless, moving to different Gurus, having not faith in their personality, but in their message, then you dive deep into this meditation, and as you go deeper and deeper, your knowledge becomes more and more unified, and there is an integrity between what you know, what you feel, and how you act. Once that has been attained, then you will be absolutely harmonious within yourself. And as Gaudapada says, samapraptam na chale. Once you have attained to that state of absolute harmony within yourself, you need not worry. Nothing will be able to move you from that position. Now that is what Acharya Shankara says, that unless the disciple can roar like a lion against what the Guru is saying, his experience is not complete. So I think your journey will end not by going to a particular individual, but just as a honey bee collects honey from many sources, but makes it into its own. Similarly, the knowledge will be your own. It is never wrong to be late, but it is always wrong to be early in taking sannyasa.
Better to be late than too early. I know it's too early for me. To say goodbye to the world, renouncing everything, demands a great leap from the known into the unknown. If you leap before you are prepared, you will certainly fall into a chasm. I know I am not prepared. The sannyasins I talked to made it all sound so easy, but as yet, I don't feel I could really renounce my family. My life is so bound up with theirs. I know that to leave them would cause unhappiness for us all. So how do we weigh up our own spiritual fulfillment against the happiness of the family we love? Maybe one day I will find a resolution and will be ready for the leap.